Hey, hey, welcome to the Summit Host Hangout podcast where you'll learn how to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit. No influencer status necessary. I'm your host, Krista from Summit in a Box, and today I'm so excited to bring on a guest to talk through her experience hosting her first summit. So, in this episode, we are going to kind of take a walk through this person's planning process and the decisions she made, what kind of results she got, what was included in her All Access Pass, how many speakers she had, some promotion strategies, so much good stuff. To tell you a little bit about our guest, she's a content and productivity strategist for driven and passionate creatives. She helps creative entrepreneurs show up consistently and wholeheartedly without the overwhelm through systems. And I think this really showed up in how great her summit was because it was so well thought through. So without further ado, let's dive in and talk with Hannah Murphy. Welcome, Hannah. I am so excited to have you today and drill you with 20 questions about your summit. This is going to be good stuff. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
This is going to be great. Before we dive into all of the questions I want to ask you, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your business first?
So I am a content and productivity strategist for creatives. So basically, I just help them show up in a consistent way. So I have one-on-one clients that I do blog and Pinterest for, and then I basically just help people reduce their overwhelm through different productivity tips.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so tell us then what your summit topic was and who that was for.
Yeah, so my summit was quite niche down. So I did it for wedding and engagement photographers. And I basically wanted to help them really create a sustainable business. So it was for photographers no matter what level of business they were at. So there was a day around building, a day around growing and marketing, and then a day around scaling. So yeah, that's kind of who it was for.
Ooh, did you like doing those themes? Was that hard with scheduling your speakers or anything like that, or did you enjoy it that way?
I actually, to start with, I didn't know how it would go, but it actually ended up working out so well because someone was able to plan their day around what day to show up for. Like, it was very easy for them to go, okay, I'm at this stage of business, so I need to show up on this day. And it just helped me clarify like what kind of topics I should have on that day to reach that kind of photographer at that level of business. So yeah, I actually found it work really well.
I really, really like that idea a lot. Okay, so you said for your main business, your services are kind of for all creative business owners. You niche down for your summit. Was that a scary thing for you to do, or did it just feel right the entire time?
I find it always scary when you niche down, like just because you're like, I don't want anyone to feel left out, or, what if you could get a really great speaker on that topic, but they're not a photographer, like that kind of thing. So I was nervous about that. But at the same time, I was confident in the fact that a lot of my clients were photographers, and I knew of all the creative kind of areas, I knew the most about photographers because I had the most experience with them. So I knew what their problems were. And then the other side of it was I had the most connections in that niche for speakers. So that's kind of helped me then go down that route in a confident way. It was still scary, but looking back, it was a smart decision because it made it very easy to plan and market.
Oh, for sure. Like the marketing for something as specific as photographers is so much easier than all creative business owners. What led you to make that decision initially? What made you say, my main niche is too much. I need to narrow down?
Yeah. A few reasons. The first was because as I was just planning out the topics, pretty much all the speakers were either photographers or educators that could speak on that, like, for example, budgeting, but for photographers. So for me, a real key driver was actually the speakers side of it, because I found that if I can get great speakers, then it can be a really quality summit. And so from there, that's kind of how the decision went. And also, I had a look at my own audience and my own email list, and a lot of them were photographers anyway. So I think that kind of led down to that track, and it was just easier to create sessions, like, for example, preparing your clients for a session. You couldn't do that for a whole creative, space. So it kind of meant that you could get some more quality topics.
Yeah, you don't have to have like 101 level topics on everything. You were really able to dive in deep and provide these people with so much more value, probably than any other summit, literally, than they've ever been to before.
Yeah,
I'm sure
exactly.
you had people tell you that even.
Which is really encouraging.
Yes, yeah, you did a really great job. Okay, what made you decide to run a summit in the first place? There are so many different things we see that we should be doing: challenges, webinars, YouTube, all the things. What made you decide on a summit?
So, first off, a summit was never in my radar to do. To be honest, I didn't even really know about summits, but I guess it started kind of earlier this year where I saw a lot of my clients or business friends in the US that were attending events, like in person events. And I was craving that community, and there just wasn't really many around. As you can tell by my slow accent, I'm from Brisbane, Australia. Um, and so there wasn't a lot in my area. And I was just craving to create a space where people could come and be encouraged and receive quality education. So that's kind of the start of it. And then I actually came across you at the same time I was invited to be a part of a summit. So when I was part of that, I was like, I love this idea of being able to have that, and just seeing all the ways you did the summit. I was like, this is totally my jam. I love the idea of this. So I'm just going to go for it. So yeah, that's kind of where it came.
I love that. Was that Corey's by chance?
Yeah. She's awesome.
I love it. She had all my stuff too. So I love that that one like gave you a good experience and all that stuff. I hooked her up. So awesome. I'm going to have to tell her that too, that she's the reason it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to dive into the results, but first, I want to circle back for people that are listening who are not US based, like you. What did you do with your schedule? Did you schedule sessions for your daytime hours or the US daytime hours?
This was the hardest part of the summit, was working out time zones, because I needed to make sure that I was scheduling this stuff out properly. And trust me, I had a lot of time zone conversions with my VA and us trying to work out. But from the beginning, I decided to do it in the US time zone. While that was harder on me, I knew that majority of the speakers were US based, and I wanted them to make sure they were meeting like the marketing deadlines kind of thing for when cart opens and all of that kind of thing. And I knew because a lot of the speakers were based in the US, probably a lot of the attendees would be based there as well. So I did decide to go with that time zone. Like a day before, was like, oh, did I do this time zone conversion right? But no, it actually ended up being way easier because people showed up a lot more, and people, the speakers, like, marketed a lot better in their time zone. So yes, I did decide to do that, but it wasn't an easy decision.
Yeah. Okay, I was really interested when I remembered. Like, well, there was a couple times when I would see you talking about your summit on Instagram. I was like, I wonder what times was going on here. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, so when you decided to run your summit, what kinds of results were you hoping or expecting with it?
So going into it, it wasn't really a huge financial move. It was more just to increase my exposure within the industry, and grow my email list. So that's kind of where I wanted to head. And because I'd never done a summit before, I didn't really know what to expect, but it was more the goals were to really increase that exposure and grow the email list.
I love that. So how did that compare to the results you actually saw?
Seriously, the results of this summit went, I'm so grateful. It went above and beyond what I was expecting. And it's just it's helped get my name out there so much, which I know sounds so selfish, but at the same time, the speakers were able to get their names out there as well. So it really did help everyone. So we had over 900 people register for the summit, which was so much fun. And it was really great to see expectations go above what I thought would happen. So yeah.
That's amazing. How many, if you're comfortable sharing, how many All Access Pass sales did you see come in from that 900?
Yeah, so we had 150 purchase the toolkit, which was awesome.
You guys, that's over a 16% conversion rate.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Tell me something else that you can do that gets you a 16% conversion rate with a cold audience. I don't think it exists. I love that. That's so exciting. What was your price point for your All Access Pass?
So we did a 48-hour sale at the beginning. So that was $47. And then after that 48 hours, it was $97 up until like the hour before the summit started. And then it was $147 during the summit.
I love that you didn't like go real low. Like I see some people go. Did you see all of those price points sell pretty well?
Yeah, the best selling one was that 48-hour sale because there was like a lot of like everyone, all the speakers were promoting it at the same time. It was real like cheap compared to the other price points. But yes, every single one of those price points got sales in there. So yeah, they all worked.
What did you include in your All Access Pass?
So there was like all the presentations and workbooks for 12 months. And then we had, I can't even remember, there was like even like over 10 contributions from the speakers and affiliates. So there was things like, so I contributed a productivity course, a blogging course, and then there was everything from like bookkeeping masterclass to branding guides to posing course, wedding guides, website kind of help, Pinterest guides. Yeah, there was a lot in there. Which really did help contribute to those toolkit sales, I think. Like the greater the value, the greater their saving, which also helped speakers as well. Like I think it's so important with, toolkit passes and that kind of thing to actually have a lot of value in them because it helps speakers to go, this is so much easier to promote because look how much is in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, you said that it included access to the presentations and workbooks for a year. So I have two questions on that. First, what made you decide to end access at a year? And then two, did you get any people pushing back on that and asking why they couldn't have lifetime access?
No one asked about the like 12 months year thing. So I didn't get any pushback on that. Maybe people thought it, but I didn't hear it. And then the other thing was a few reasons. The first was because I just don't know, like I didn't want to overpromise. So I don't know how long I'm going to be on that course platform for or where that's going to sail. So I just thought 12 months was enough. The other thing was I just find it always helpful putting deadlines on things because then people use it. So that 12 months was 12 months is quite a long time in my eyes. But also like a lot of those resources, they can download themselves. So yeah, that was kind of the heart behind it. Also, if I was to do another summit in the future, then they can, be part of that and get access to the new toolkit and that kind of thing. And you could use that as bonus resources for the next toolkit. So yeah, that's kind of where the heart was around it.
I love that. Okay. I thought some people would probably ask about that, and I've always been curious too. So it was great to hear kind of your thoughts behind that. Okay. You had 900 registrations, 150 sales, which is still that's incredible. How many speakers did you have as a part of your summit?
So there was 14 speakers and me. So there was 15 presentations altogether.
That's incredible. And I think this is showing people you don't have to have 40 speakers to get incredible results with a summit. That is really awesome. So they must have done a great job helping you spread the word.
Yeah, they did awesome. And I also brought in 5 key affiliates who couldn't be part of the presentation, but I knew they had really solid audiences. And in order, they would be able to help promote it in a way that is for helping their audience, and they contributed to the toolkit and everything else. So that I think really helped as well because it wasn't extra work on my end trying to find more people to get more speakers in there. But it was also for a first summit, I was like, I don't want to go too far beyond. But yeah, so they did do an awesome job of promoting though.
Do you think there's anything specific that you did or provided them or any key things that made it so your speakers did promote? Because, I've seen people all over the board where they're like, none of my speakers said a word. And then yours, who clearly did a great job. What do you think caused them to help you out so much?
The first thing is, not every speaker did promote amazingly. But I think what helped was, number one, all the resources from you that I got as far as putting together email templates, giving them graphics, giving them everything they need because our job as a summit host is to make their job easy. So it was basically trying to get as much resource in their hands as possible. And then also I did a few things. So I did like speaker prizes or affiliate prizes for the top 3 earners. So that just kind of helped motivate another way. The other thing was I tried to be as active as I could in the Facebook group and make sure that every speaker was in there. And I didn't just post, but if it was something important, I would then tag every speaker in the comments so that I made sure they'd see it. So it was basically, me trying to do as much as I could to support them and notify them. But also what I think helped was that initial 48 hours, because it was like, quick, this is here. It's, you don't want to miss getting this sale to people. You'll get an affiliate. But then after that, they saw the hype and they saw the results and they were like, wow, this is cool. So then they helped promote in the next, price jumps as well, because they were getting higher affiliate percentage because it was a higher price. I think those kind of things all together. And then also when I chose the speakers, I wanted to choose people that I'd observed, and I looked at the way they promoted things. I looked at the way they collaborate with people, that kind of thing. Like there's actually, what I realized in planning a summit is there's so much intention behind marketing decisions and speaker choices and everything like that. So yeah.
Yes. Okay. So many good points. I kept picking one that I wanted to pick out here, and then you kept going with really good ones. I really like that you thought to pay attention to those speaker choices, because so many people want to go for those big name speakers. This is the person that talks about Instagram. This is the person that talks about Facebook ads or whatever. Those people are probably not going to promote your summit. And so I'm really glad that you were really intentional with that. And then another thing, I really love how that 48-hour strategy played into everyone promoting, because people didn't have time to sleep on it or let themselves forget. They knew that those first 48 hours were going to be hot. And then you also got everyone excited and engaged right off the bat, which just carries through the rest of the whole event. That's incredible. I love that.
Yeah, there's so much momentum in it. I think a key part of helping marketing is momentum. And when I would see it drop off, I would think, okay, what can I do now to gain momentum? Because it was only 2 weeks of promotion or something like that. So it wasn't a long time. But yeah, momentum is so important.
Yes. And then, okay, speaking of momentum, something I saw you doing was on Instagram. You were so active on at least Instagram stories. I don't scroll the feed at all, but you were always on Instagram stories, even during your summit, doing so many awesome things, interacting with attendees, promoting each day. Tell us a little bit about your strategy for that and if you think it paid off.
So first off, I am great with Pinterest, but Instagram is actually not my strength. And so I knew I had to up level for Instagram in this summit. Funny you mentioned the feed, because once my summit sort of went live, or just before it, I actually hardly posted in the feed. It was pretty much all on stories, and I did one Instagram live. So what I did, which helped, was I did a Instagram TV behind the scenes of the toolkit so that people could see. And that gave speakers a place to direct so that they could see in the toolkit. But then also I went, you know what? I have 14 speakers. That's 14 days of content if that's 2 weeks of marketing. So once a day, I wanted, because I chose these speakers, I knew about them, I knew their strengths. I'd either worked with them, bought their products, something like that. And I think a lot of my marketing comes from a place of real encouragement. And so I just basically wanted to rave about that speaker. And I found that when I did that, they were like, oh, wow, this person seems so cool. I want to hear more about them. It was actually very non-salesy in my opinion, but also more effective in sales than me going on and saying hey, this person's on this day and, that kind of thing. So a lot of the lead up was actually more just talking about the speakers. And I found that I would do that again. It was a very helpful strategy in just giving a lot of content. That's, I think the biggest thing is you want to show up in that kind of 2 weeks daily, or at least through the week. And so that was an easy way for me to go without having to overthink it.
I love that. And like you said, it's not overly salesy, But that is why I think it worked so well, because you were genuine, and that's what people connect with. And it's all about connection all throughout the process. And I have a feeling when you were talking about each speaker, you were tagging them, they were probably sharing that. That's a really great idea. I like it. I like it. I have a couple more questions for you here. You have done a great job handling everything I'm throwing at you here. One of my last questions is, what do you think is the best decision you made for your summit?
I love this question so much, and I really have to think about it, but I think there was a few. The first thing, which I know sounds very potentially unstrategic, it was I always ask myself the question, how can I make this easy on me without sacrificing results? Because I could very easily get overwhelmed with the tech. Like, I'm not really great with tech in the whole funnels and everything like that. And it was my first summit. So I wanted to make sure that I was, showing up and helping people without being a hot mess stressed behind the scenes. So that's the first thing I did. And because it's such a great question, I need to add something else in. But also, I really think the 48-hour sale really helped the summit. In this particular situation, that's when I saw the most amount of sales and the most amount of people sign up. So yeah, they were probably the two, one strategic and one just more mindset, that I think actually helped make the summit successful.
Yeah, and I mean, there are so many people who feel held back by a summit for things like how difficult the tech can feel. Out of curiosity, what tech setup did you use?
I ended up using Thrivecart with Squarespace. So that's just how people got the free ticket, how they signed up. All the sales pages were in Squarespace. And the Thrivecart affiliate tracking was amazing. Like, at the end of the payouts, it tracked everything for me, and Thrivecart was only a one-off payment, so I didn't have to pay these month-to-month payments or anything like that. So that was the tech I used. And then to host the toolkit, I did it in Podia because that's where my other courses are. So that was just kind of an easy fit.
Love it. Love it. I'm going to link to all of those things in the show notes as well for anyone curious. If you do another summit again, first, let me know if you think you will. But second, what would you do differently next time? Is there anything you'd try to tweak a little bit?
I have absolutely fallen in love with the idea of summit. So I probably will be doing another one, but there's definitely a few things I do differently. The first thing is I would have a think about, so with the toolkit sales, there was a lot in the beginning and there was heaps of momentum. And then during the summit, while there was still sales, it wasn't like as consistent as the other stuff, which is pretty normal and natural in my opinion. But what I would do next time is I would add in another bonus and consistently add into the toolkit and do surprise resources of a lot of value to add in, just to create a little bit more hype, so that it could be still everyone, no one's at a loss if they purchased early, because everyone gets it. But it just helps create a little bit more hype and momentum around those times. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I would be more strategic with email. I didn't do a huge amount of email marketing to the summit people, attendees. I probably did a sequence of, I think, about 3 emails, but I just would have considered that a bit more as far as post summit. How much time am I going to leave? What emails am I going to do? That kind of stuff. And I just look at new ways to add value to the attendees, whether that's going live in the Facebook group for some bonus trainings or just that kind of stuff, adding some more, I guess, bells and whistles next time.
That's cool, though. I think it's great to know that you got these great results without all the bells and whistles. So I think that's probably going to be really encouraging for a lot of people listening. And I also really like what you said about the bonuses. And I've actually done this on accident for my last couple summits, and it works well. And the reason I say it's an accident is because when my speakers are late delivering their bonuses for my All Access Pass, I just announce them as they come in. And it's ended up being a really great way to market, even though I'm not trying to do it. So the bonus idea is a good one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that would help.
Yeah. Okay. Last question I have for you. What would be your biggest piece of advice for someone looking to run a summit for the first time?
Oh, so much. I could probably write a whole book with how much I learned during it, and I'm sure you could as well. But I would actually just say, like, start small, but give a lot of quality. So I found the 14 speaker mark really helpful because it was still enough, but it wasn't too much to organize. So I would do that. And then the other thing I would just say is that if something goes wrong, which it did a few times during the summit, don't freak out. Actually, just like find an easy way around it, because there's always a solution, whether it's reaching out to someone and asking for help or whatever. And then also the last thing I would say is, before you even start promoting or getting speakers or anything like that, have a marketing plan and write down, like, I don't want to call it a hit list because that sounds terrible, but write down like your topics that you want and find people that are going to match that. And if you get a no from a speaker, look for someone else that's like strong in talking about that, because I found that topics helped drive what people wanted, and I didn't do it based off, I want you as a speaker, what do you want to talk about? Because that would have been very hard to organize. So yeah, I would say, like, do that, look for a quality speaker, like your most preferred, reach out. If they say no, look for someone else, kind of thing.
Heck yes, I love that piece of advice. I very highly encourage everyone to start with the topic. I was over here like fist bumping as she was talking about that. Where can people go to learn more about you and what you offer?
So they can go to my website, withhannahmurphy.com, and I'm also on Instagram and Pinterest under that name as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing so freely. It was really, really fun to hear about your experience.
You're welcome. Thanks for all your resources too.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode with Hannah. If you are planning towards your first summit, I hope you're so inspired by the results she got, how far above and beyond they exceeded her expectations, and the fact that she was able to do that by keeping things as simple as possible, not overwhelming her with complicated tech, too many speakers, all kinds of bells and whistles. She kept it simple and got incredible results. For show notes and resources mentioned in this episode and to connect with Hannah, head to summithosthangout.com/047. In the next episode, we are starting a new series and we'll be talking about how to boost all access pass sales after the event is over. So be sure to tune in for that. Now go out and take action to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit.